Hey guys, welcome to RudraTech tutorial, and in this tutorial chapter we are going to look at CSS background properties. Well, the background properties are useful to apply a background effect to any HTML element, and we have a lot of background properties, and those are as first is the background color. We have seen the background color extensively if you had seen the CSS color video, and if you have not, I have included link in the description. Go through it. You will find the background color can be applied using the color names or the hexadecimal value or the RGB, RGBA functions or HSL or HSLA functions. In this one, we will be focusing more on the background image. It is used for applying the background image to any HTML element, and it is applied using a value with the function URL and its image path. Then is the background position. It is used for the position of the background image, and it can be set using the keywords left, top, right, bottom, or percent or pixels. Then is the background size. It is used to set the size of the background image. Then is the background repeat. It defines how the image repeats in the background. By default, its value is set to repeat, and it has 4 values: repeat, repeat X, repeat Y, no repeat. And even if you have not set this background repeat property and you have included the background image, it will repeat that image. So the default value is repeat. Then is the background attachment property. It defines what will happen to the background image when user is scrolling. So it defines the behavior of this image when the user is scrolling. It is having the values text or scroll. Then is the background origin. It defines the origin of the background image, and it has values border box, padding box, and content box. By default, it is having the value as padding box. And then there is background clip, which specifies the background extension within the HTML element, and it also has the values border box, padding box, and content box. Now we have seen around 7 to 8 properties here, and we can combine them, all those properties. We can combine all those properties using the background property. So using this particular property, we can set background image, color, size, position, attachment, origin, clip, repeat in a single row. This background property groups all the background properties at one place. Now let's go and see them one by one. So the first property that we are going to see is background image property. And here I have prepared a sample example where I have a div where I will be applying the background image. And now here is the background image property that I have set using the URL value, and rudratech.png is our image. And the URL function must contain a relative path. Now in this case, the CSS file and the PNG file are in same folder. Hence I have included directly the name of the PNG and not the entire path. It can be inside another folder, so you have to include that folder name in the relative path. Now let's go and execute this one. So I'm going to execute this on Chrome. Yeah. So the background image has been applied to our text, but if you can see, the background image is repeating. This is because CSS sets the background repeat property by default to repeat. Hence our image, that is the RudraTech image, is getting repeated on x-axis and y-axis. Now let's go and see the background repeat property and how we can manipulate it to show the image. Now when we are seeing the background property, it has 4 values. First is repeat, then is repeat X, repeat Y, and no repeat. For each property, I have created a div with a class attribute, which is having the selector as div1, div2, div3, div4, and these selectors are included in this file. Now here I have selected the background image. Now we want to see how to repeat the image and how not to repeat it. Hence we have applied the background dash repeat property. So first is background.repeat, and it is set to repeat, which is the default property. Then repeat X, which will be repeating the image on the X-axis. Then repeat Y, which will be repeating the image on the Y-axis, and the fourth and final one will be no repeat. So this will not repeat image on either X-axis or Y-axis. Here I have added selectors, that is class selectors. This starts with the dot and then the class name. Now these selector will help us to apply the style to a given element which has a class attribute, and this particular selector is present in that class attribute's value. So I have created a div1. So this div1 is present with the class attribute of this div. So that particular styles in the div1 will be applied to this div alone, and wherever this particular div1 selector is applied. We will be seeing the selectors in future videos and in detail, but do remember there is a selector that is called a class selector. Now let's go and execute our background repeat property example. I'm going to execute this again. Chrome. So you can see first one is background repeat, and it is repeating the image on both X and Y axis. Then is background repeat X, which is repeating only on the X axis. There is nothing on the Y axis. Then is background repeat as Y. So it is repeating on Y axis alone, and there is nothing on the X axis. Then background repeat, that is no repeat. So this is not repeating on either on X or Y axis. So this is how you can use the background repeat property. Now we are going to see the background size property. Now the background size property can be set using the property background dash size, and its values can be percentage or pixel. Now for example, I have set the value using 50%, and let's go and execute this example on the browser. So you can see the size of the image is 50% and it is increased. Now when we had executed the repeat property, you can see this is the actual size of our image. When we are saying in the background size HTML, so this is the increased size set by the background size property. We can set the property using the percent or the pixels. So if I remove the percent and add px here, that is the pixels, the background size will change according to the value set. So I'm going to refresh this page. Now you can see the value is 50 px. So the background has been set to this size. Now it is very small, so I'm going to increase it again. Let's add it to 240 px. Now you can see the background size has increased. So this is how you can set the background size property. Then is the background position property. This background position property is used to set the position of the background image in the background of your HTML element. Now it can be set using the keywords like left, top, bottom, right, or using the pixels or percentage values. Now in this example, I have set the background position to bottom right. That means it will be shown at the bottom right corner of our div element. Then I have set the background positions using pixel. These are two random values. So it will be shown on the background of the HTML element, but at a random position. Again, there is a third value that I have used is background position using 40% and 90%. So it will be shown on the x-axis 40% and y-axis 90%. This is how you can set the values of the background position properties. Now let's go and execute this example. So here we have set the position to bottom right. So you can see the image is shown on the bottom right corner. Then the position is set to 200 pixels by 90 pixels. So it will be shown on this location. And there is another using the percentage. So you can, it is at the bottom of, and it is at the 40% side of x-axis and at the bottom of y-axis. So this is how you can set the background position property for the background image. Then is the background attachment property. The background attachment property specify what will happen when the user scrolls. So it defines the behavior of your image when user is scrolling, and it has two values. First is fixed, so it will be fixed to the viewport, and the second is scroll. So it will scroll along with the HTML element or the content of the element in the viewport. So here in this case I have applied the properties directly to the body element, and the background image is rudratech.png. It has set to no repeat, and background position is set to top left, and the background attachment in this case is set to fixed. Now let's look at the behavior when the property is set to fixed value. I'm going to execute this example on Chrome again. Now here you can see the image is on the top left corner, but when I am scrolling down it will scroll. So the image is fixed with the viewport and it will scroll along with your content. Now let's go and change the property value to scroll. Save this. Now we have set the value to scroll. Now in this case you can see image is not fixed to the viewport and the content is getting scrolled properly, and image is at the topmost position only. So this is how you can use the background attachment property. Then is the background origin property. The background origin property defines the origin of the background image from padding box, border box or content box. So I have prepared 3 different selectors, each having different value for the background origin. First is padding box, then second is border box, and third is content box. Now let's go and execute this example on the browser. So first is the padding box. So you can see the image is starting from the padding box. Then second one is the border box. So you can see the image is starting within the border. Now in this case the image is started within the padding box. So that is where the padding has started, and where the background origin set to border box, the image has started from the border, and then there is a third value called content box. So in this case the background image will start from where the content has begun. So this is how you can use the background origin property. Then the next is background clip. So the background clip property specifies the extension within the HTML element. Now in this case I have used the background color, background repeat to no repeat, and the background clip property first is set to padding box, then it is set to border box, and third it is set to content box. Now let's go and execute this example and see how the background clip property behaves. Now this is how the background clip property behaves when the value is set to padding box. So the color begins from the padding box. When the background clip property is set to border box, the color begins from the border. So that is from where the border begins. And when it is set to content box, it is beginning from the content box. Now you can see the color has begun and it is wrapped only for the content box, and the padding and the border box are, that is for the padding and the border there is no color set. So this is how you can use the background clip property. Then is the background property. The background property is very useful for grouping together all the 8 properties that we have earlier seen, like the background image, background color, position, size, attachment, repeat, origin, clip. So all these properties can be grouped together in a single property using the background property. Now here we have grouped URL. So this will include the image, then the position and the size. So here we have included position or the size, then the repeat property, I have set it to no repeat, then attachment, then the origin, then background clip and background color as well. So now let's go and execute. So this is the output of the background properties that we have grouped together using the property background. And here you can see the image is on the top left corner with the size 200px, and it is not repeating either on x or y axis, and both the image and the color are confined within the content box. So this is how you can use the background property along with the background position, image, size, color, repeat, attachment, origin and clip. I hope you have understood the background properties. Please provide us the comment so that we can provide you the quality content, and do like and subscribe. Thank you.